Yeah, any win's a good win. Really proud of some guys stepping up and making some great plays. I mean, Darrington Evans was Superman out there, 241 yards rushing, plus a kickoff return for a touchdown. Jalen Virgil, 3 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zach threw 3 touchdowns. So those 3 guys really stepped up, made some plays. You know, Jolly with the block punt right before half was a huge momentum swing, and then intercepting the ball at the end of the game. So really proud of those guys. Disappointed in some of the penalties. Obviously, way too many penalties from our side of the football, or on our team, both offense and defensive penalties, and they're undisciplined, and that comes back to me, and that's going to be addressed and fixed. Missed tackling, sloppy, very poor completion. You know, in our pass defense. I mean, we gave up, almost 300 yards passing, and that's not something I expected to happen. So we'll come back tomorrow, get it corrected, and keep moving forward. It's good to be 2-0. Keep telling them back there that.
You saw my smoke signals with regard to Jalen this week.
Yeah, I saw him. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Eli, the second half especially, Charlotte really took control of the tempo with their offense. Kind of felt like the defense was maybe on skates a little bit. What were they doing that was making things uncomfortable for the defense?
I mean, they were just moving the ball. I mean, we couldn't get them in behind the chains moments, and then when we did, we made stupid penalties or pass interference or gave up deep balls. So we got to do a better job of keeping the ball in front of us and not letting it get thrown over our head, and that'll be a point of emphasis this week.
Do you feel like, I guess, how do you feel about their rhythm, or just kind of the rhythm you guys were able to establish in some parts of the game, and then just some of the general struggles you guys faced?
Well, I mean, hey, it's a good win, and I'm not going to be negative about it. And I get that, we gave up some yardage on defense and all that stuff, but there really wasn't ever a point in the game where I was concerned about losing the game. Once we blocked that punt, we were in firm control of the entire game. And when they decided to go for 2 and didn't get it, at that point it was just about us making plays that we needed to make, whether it be the offense or on that onside kick. So, did they get into a rhythm? Did we? Yeah, that's football. When you're playing a good opponent, then you're going to have those times where you got to fight through it and make some plays. And, we did that at the end when we got that interception.
What did you see from them defensively that made Malik kind of your go-to today? Same way Thomas was last week. Some things Malik was able to do were real successful.
Well, they were giving us some space. They were trying to attack our edges or attack our Y with some pressures, and when you do that, you leave the field safety one-on-one with your slot receiver. And Malik's a really good football player, especially on that ball that when we were backed up and he caught that wheel route and went up and made some big-time catches for us. So he's a good player. Thomas had his catches, and Jalen did his job. So I think that goes back to Zach doing a good job of taking what the defense gives him.
Can you kind of go back to the block punt? What did you see?
Yeah.
It looked like you guys kind of.
Yeah, that's all Coach Link. I mean, we had seen it on film, and he had asked me to do it earlier, and I didn't feel good about it. But then I just felt like we had 3 timeouts. We had just scored on that fumble. I thought they might play a little conservative since they were going to get the ball back to start the second half, and just wanted to use our timeouts. We felt really good about that block. And so we just wanted to see it, and even if we didn't get it, I felt like we had good field position, and so we decided to go after it, and he dialed it up. They practiced it all week, and it was executed perfectly.
It was one of these games where the defense is kind of struggling.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But your special teams really.
Yeah, they made up for it.
Can you just kind of talk about what the difference in special teams can make?
Well, here's the deal. In a football game, you got to win 2 out of 3 phases to win the game. All right, to dominate, you got to win all 3 phases. Today, special teams and offense really did their jobs, and defensively, when they had the opportunities, right before half, they got a turnover, and then at the end of the game, they got that other turnover. So they did some things. Obviously, we gave up too much yardage, and that's stuff that we'll get corrected.
What did you see from your running back group today after losing Peoples last week? They came out pretty strong this game.
Yeah, I mean, rushed for 200-something yards. Darrington really stepped up. So, yeah, those guys, we have a lot of trust and faith in those guys. And they ran hard, ran behind their pads.
You talk a little bit about the decision to not start Vic at left tackle early in the game, and then the decision to eventually bring him in.
Well, that's really kind of a training question, and we just didn't feel like at the first start of the game that he was ready to go. And then at halftime, he just said, "Coach, I'm playing." And credit to him being a captain. You know, we were needing some help right there. Five was doing a nice job, and he went in there and did it. Now we got to be more disciplined. He had a personal foul that killed the drive, but you know, I appreciate his toughness to come in and get in the game.
You got a real kind of breakthrough game out of Jalen Virgil today too. Can you talk a little bit about his contributions?
Well, we got a lot of confidence in Jalen. We've had all spring and fall camp, and he just needed his moment and his opportunity. And we felt like we had a good matchup for him to the field, and we wanted to be aggressive and take those shots. And after that turnover, Zach just came over and said, "Coach, we got to throw the field 9 ball to Jalen." And I actually had a run call called, and they called timeout and came over, and I said, "All right, let's do it." And Zach gave him a great ball. He made the catch, and then on that 3rd and 12, we had seen that same formation earlier in the game, and we felt like that we could get a what we call a post route. We felt like we could attack that corner and run by him as long as we sucked the safety down. Credit to Zach, he took a big time shot on that, but got the ball out. You know, and so it was a great route, but it was just as much the toughness factor. You know, Zach, I can't say enough positive things about him, man. He got hit a lot tonight, way too much, and he did a great job of just being tough, and that was awesome.
You know, you mentioned looking at the game last year.
Yeah.
You know, just with this new coaching staff, you know, what did you see that they kind of added that allows them to be a lot more successful this year than last year at that point?
I mean, their quarterback's totally different. He's a headsy player. I mean, he made some things miss. They're getting the ball to their playmakers. They got great energy. You know, they got one of the best running backs in the group of 5. I mean, the dude's 1,000-yard rusher. He's a big, powerful back. So they did a nice job using their weapons. We weren't as good as we need to be, and we know that. But we're 2-0, and we're ready for a bye week to get a lot better.
No, we're going to go have Akeem Davis Gaither, and then Jordan Fair will be joining us shortly.
I'm sure you guys are not very pleased with the way things went. Just, you know, what do you guys say, and just kind of what do you guys take away from this game, first off?
Yeah, we can't take any opponent lightly. I think the offense and defense came out slow the first half. Offense came out better in the second. Defense still was flat, no energy. This couldn't never catch a groove. Couldn't never. And you know, Charlotte, they was out playing us. They were playing harder. They wanted it more. Seemed like.
You know, obviously they were finding a lot more guys open and making stuff work. But just, you know, you got to play against them last year. You played against them this year. What do you think's been the biggest change in kind of the way they attacked you guys?
Last year we was down pat with the defense call. So this year, you know, new plays, new coaches. So just learning the new plays. Different going against the formation, we did a little different this year, and this communication was a little off out there. So once we get that going, everybody on the same page, things will be a lot better.
Did were they much different from last year as far as their scheme play? You feel like they were really?
I think last year they threw the ball a little bit more. This game, it was beating us on the run, so wasn't no point in passing. They did a lot of unbalanced. I don't think they did as much last year. So really, they were just running the same plays over and over. Whatever was working, they kept running it.
Why were they having so much success with that tunnel screen they were running, Akeem? And you know, there's a lot of angles in pursuit. And, you know, you got to be in the right spot. But it seemed like that was a play that you guys had trouble catching up to for most of the day.
Probably the secondary playing off a little bit, giving them too much room, and the shooting angle was probably off. Number one that was catching it, he was pretty shifty, so people wasn't staying on the back hip, just overrunning it.
there were a lot of penalty calls in the game. I mean, you guys are in the midst of it. You're trying to do a lot of stuff. Was there any discussion, from you guys who are leaders on that defense about, hey, we got to reel in these penalties? Because in all honesty, there were a couple times you kind of had them behind the sticks and let them off the hook with that. What's the communication that takes place as a leader of that defense when that's going on?
With penalties, we kind of like to go by next play mentality. So the last play is in the past, so we want to forget about what just happened so we can be successful the next play. So really, we don't really focus on the penalties. We let the coaches handle that, and we just gotta play better with our eyes and hands.
Special teams. You talk about special teams a little bit. They kind of had pretty good timing.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing. Just so give you a lift or how did you guys react?
With the
sorry.
which
Well, block punt, and then seemed to the onside kick.
and Dan's scoring. Yeah. That was a big motivation. Momentum shift for us. That was really surprising that happened on the onside kick. We practiced the block punt a lot, so we know once we called it that we was going to be successful with it. This turns out that we got a touchdown off of it. It was pretty good.
Are you on that block punt defense?
Jordan, just the sack and the fumble late in the first half. Did it feel like a big momentum swing just to get those two scores right before the break?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime we force a big turnover, especially on their end, be able to make a big turnover like that is huge for our offense, give them life. When they went down and scored, that gave us great momentum, especially what the situation was in the game. So Meach made a great play off the end, and I was happy I was right there to get on top of it so our offense can go and score.
Given the number of total offensive yards that they gave up, what were they doing something different that you weren't expecting?
I mean, we were prepared. I mean, it was just little things, little things add up to big things. And when we can't get off the field due to penalties, I mean, we played really sloppy. We didn't play how we played today. I mean, thankfully we got a win, but we got a lot of corrections to make, and we just got to get back to doing what we do. We'll go back, watch the film, and get better. So.
Jordan, you guys are an attacking defense. It's not often it feels like an offense is kind of taking the fight to you, but it kind of felt that way at some times today. When that's happening and you guys as leaders of that defense, as seniors, are trying to push the group forward, what are the things that are important to really focus on and get everybody kind of zeroed in on?
Yeah, just forgetting the past. Like, if you have a bad play, forget it, move on, press forward, and just playing together. We know what we can do, we know what we're capable of, and we just got to communicate and play hard, man. At the end of the day, like, what we do is we play fast, we play physical, and we do our job. And sometimes when an error happens, us as leaders, we just got to say, let's go, next play. Like, we're fine, get off the field, let's go. Like I said, thankfully we got the win, but we need to get better.
What does it do for you guys to just kind of see Darrington play the way he did, and really just kind of, it was pretty heroic, especially with that last onside kick play. What does it do for the defense to watch that game, watch him kind of play that out?
Yeah, no, Darrington's a great player, and we talk about it all the time. Like, football's so great because it is a team game. So, like, our offense played great today, and as a defense, that motivates us and that inspires us to know that our offense can go down and score, and vice versa, knowing that we can go out there and step up, get a 3 and out for our offense, make plays for our offense. So, I mean, Darrington's a great player, and I'm very thankful he's on our team.
What was the feeling at the end? Jolly gives up a couple of touchdown passes. Frankly, he was in really good position on both of them. They were really good offensive plays. And then he comes back and intercepts that pass in the end zone at the end. How happy are you guys for him realizing he's out there playing his very first games?
When he made that play, I ran up to him. I'm proud of you. Like I said earlier, from forgetting the past, have a bad play, whatever, move on from it. He stepped up and made a great play to seal the game. So for him being his first year, starting with us, I'm really proud of you. And that's what you got to do, and way to step up. So.
Alright, just in case you Fire away.
Darrington, your legs tired, man? A lot of running you did today. Kind of talk us through what was going on offensively that was opening up so much ground for you.
Up front, the O-line, they did a good job opening up holes, pushing people where they need to be, and then coaches with the play calls, they saw the right things up top and relayed it down to the coaches on the field and made it happen.
And then on the kickoff return, kind of walk us through that. A lot of things had to happen around you for you to go through cleanly and pick that ball and keep on going. What happened on that play?
Really right there, I was talking to, I think it was Thomas and JT. I was like, yo, if it's hot, let it go. Just let it go. And then it just took a good bounce, and I was like, all right, it's too high for me to catch it and fall. And then I looked, as I caught it, I'm like, it's wide open. I might as well just keep running.
So there was a split second where think, well, just catch this, just secure the ball. That went from I can score.
Yeah, it went from catch it and secure it to trying to put us up more points to help our defense.
I don't think anybody got near you, did they?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Can you talk about the first play? First play of the game. Touchdown.
Oh yeah. It felt good, that's a good thing, Coach Drink, he always emphasized starting fast, so we needed that to come out. Normally when we start fast, it's hard to beat us when we come out on top.
I was in the other end zone. What kind of play was it? Counter?
No, it's just a handoff inside.
The hole was
the hole was they did a good job. Pushed people out of the way. O-line did a great job.
Second straight week.
After Zach overthrew you last week on the long pass, and you dive in. Did you whisper in his ear something like, "Hey, slow this down a little bit"?
We had got back to the house because me and Zach actually lived together. Mm-hmm. It was like, man, I can't believe I overthrew you on that post. And I was like, man, we're gonna end up getting it eventually. So, I just waited on this week and finally connected. So hopefully we can keep doing it in the future.
How do you guys feel about just kind of the offense and trying to establish that rhythm? Because there were times where it was kind of clicking and working for you guys, and there were times where it really kind of bogged down.
I would say it's more on us. A lot of times we'll move the ball down the field, and then I think today we went down in the red zone, didn't get no points. That's on us. So at the end of the day, as long as we do our job and execute, there's no really problem with our offense trying to figure out things.
Jalen, how much man coverage did you see from those guys today? I mean, were they pretty daring and coming at you with man?
Actually, in the first half, pretty much every time I lined up into the boundary, their boundary corner number 6, he was pretty much pressed up on me every time. So we got back in the locker room at halftime and just talked about kind of airing it out a little bit more. So, and whenever I caught that one ball right before halftime, Zach was looking out, and I guess he had noticed how the corner was pressed up, so we just decided to take a shot and execute it. So
now we're talking in the spring about you feeling more comfortable receiving the ball, and now you're 2 games in. How are you kind of noticing that? Obviously, there's scoring involved, but how are you kind of noticing that it's actually a comfortable thing for you now?
Man, it's just this offense we run this year, we have a lot more opportunities to throw the ball. So even in practice, we throw the ball a lot more than we did last year. So it's just me getting comfortable with that, and just pretty much just repetition, just going over stuff every day and just getting comfortable with Zach throwing it to me. So,
Jalen, there's always been talk about you being a threat as a kick returner. I think today was the first time, I think.
Yeah, I was my first kick return day. Yeah.
Just what has that been like for you to go through? Being a possibility back there, finally get a chance.
It's cool. I'm behind possibly App State's best kick returner of all time. So it's just cool. I always, in practice, I'm always right behind Darrington, just watching how he, hits the holes and everything, and just taking notes from the GOAT. Just in case I have to get out there like I did today, and then make something happen. So
Darrington went most of the first half, all the first half without Vic Johnson at left tackle, and then he kind of came in the second half. He's not, probably quite 100%, but what does it do for the offense when you see a guy that has played as much ball as he has, been all conference, he's a leader on the team? How did him being out on the field with you kind of inspire maybe some of the offense?
I would say it made us play harder. We played for the seniors, and he's been here a long time. He's put in a lot of work, a lot of hours, blood, sweat, and tears. So when we see him out there, he always brings great energy. It just makes us play a lot harder.
I know, when people know they're going to get more opportunities, that always sounds like a good thing. But is that kind of is that a harder thing to adjust to like to kind of be ready for your number to be called more often?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hard thing to adjust to. I kind of like it, you know, just knowing that I only have a couple shots a game, you know, just going in with the mentality that obviously I want to take advantage of every opportunity, but like there's going to be more opportunities for me to take advantage of. So just having that mentality is you know, it kind of helps me out a lot. So
I feel making those fight against somebody other than your own teammates.
Amazing. You know, we've been going against them for so long. You know, it still feels like, you know, we were in fall camp the early days. So it's awesome going against another team and executing against them. So.
After with Penn State, a Sun Belt title game today, you've had some long plays right off the bat. Is it easy for you to get loose like that? Are you feeling tight at all?
You know, I try pregame. I try and do as much as I can to get loose because you never know if we're going to have the opening kickoff or if we're not going to get it until halftime. So that's my main thing before the game, is just trying to make sure I'm as loose as possible. Because you never know with Cal.
Which one between the two of you is fastest?
This guy.
Depends on the day.
All right, thank you guys. That's a wrap.